with the side. It's
All righty, thanks for coming tonight.
true.
We're going to go ahead and call the meeting for the Code Enforcement Board hearing, October 26th, 2022, 6:32 PM to order. Emily, could you call roll, please?
Paul Hughes,
Present.
Gerard Sanchez,
Present.
Ariel Hernandez, Deb Moody,
Present.
Wesley Cook,
Here.
Taylor Materio.
Here.
Thank you. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
My motion. Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business is our consent agenda, which includes approval of the minutes for the August 24th Code Enforcement Board meeting. Does anyone have any corrections to the minutes? Any unfinished cases now in compliance or new cases now in compliance? Dana?
Yes. On the second page, second case down, case number 22-0172 for Juan and Luz Gomez. That property is in compliance.
Okay.
Right below it, case number 22-0319 Grace Warshaw in compliance. Right below that, case number 22-0357 RGSG Incorporated in compliance. Page 3, top case number 22-0365 Merzadeh Properties LLC in compliance. Right below that, 22-0362 Miguel, Joseph, and Zun Linda Molina in compliance. On to page 4, the top case 22-0173 and 22-0174 for Diane Smith, both in compliance. Below that, 22-0294 7404 Pine Tree Lane LLC. That property is also in compliance, and that will complete all the in compliance cases.
Okay, we can go home.
Oh, no. There's still more.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
So is there a motion to approve the amended consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next item of business, anyone on the board that's familiar with any of the properties or spoken to any of the property owners, the cases that are going to come up tonight, if you would please disclose that at the time of the case being heard. Okay. Anyone in here tonight that's going to speak before the board, if you could please stand and be sworn in by the town attorney.
Please stand. You will be testifying. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. So I understand that there's a family with a little child in here. Could we take their case first? Dana?
Their cases first.
Their case is first. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Good strategy.
So that would be under appeals. Joseph Lopez, is that correct? Dana, is there anything to tell us?
Yes, this is kind of a new one for all of us. On June 2nd of 2022, I issued the property located at 7130 Venetian Way a warning for putting vegetation placed on the street under section 46-13 subsection A. And on that, I wrote the second one will be a $125 fine. So that's under the kind of the newer ordinance where the council wanted warnings written. I think it was for a year, and then it changes over. And then the second one has to be a $125 fine. So therefore, on September 30th, and that first violation, sorry, was posted at the property and sent via mail. So therefore, on September 30th of 2022, I issued the same property the fine notice for having vegetation placed in the street. I was contacted by Bobby Gonzalez, one of the council members, just asked a couple questions about it. And I had explained that I drove around town, and pretty much everybody was very good about it. All debris, everything was placed on their street. The only street that I found anything was Venetian. And that specific day, I wrote 9 warnings. Those were people had never been warned before, and 3 fines. So you have a little bit of backstory.
So this is one of those fines?
Yes.
Okay.
And the family's here to
So just
appeal it. The only thing they can do is come before you guys to appeal it because it's under the codes.
This is one of those new.
So Mr. Lopez, would you like to come up and tell us why you're appealing this decision?
I'm appealing the decision for the extenuating circumstances that this was 2 days after a major hurricane slammed into the state of Florida. While we did not get the brunt of the storm, we personally lost a tree in our backyard. I try and do right by others, and the tree is not the responsibility of my yard crew to clean up. So I tried to clean it up as quick as I could by the next day, placed most of the debris out front because it was a coconut palm tree, probably about 30 to 40 feet tall. I don't know if any of you have coconut palm trees. I unfortunately have 11, now 10 on my property, and they produce a lot of debris. So this amount of debris was in the road partially, but if I place the debris any further back in this location, my overhead power lines are there and my water main is in the exact same location. No other place could it have been placed without blocking driveways, being too close to my mailbox, or encroaching on my neighbor's yard. And, so that's where it was. I even added more debris to it because, like I said, that wasn't all of my debris. So I'm just asking for leniency on this. There's debris from those coconut trees every week, and they're never that far, as big as this pile was. Like I said, it was an entire tree. So it's not like it was just a normal, Wednesday afternoon that I put stuff
It included the whole tree?
Yes,
I do have a photo if you wanted to see
Yeah.
that. I'm not used to these yet. I forgot to put the old photos because it's not one that you take now on the thing. So I would just have to show you what I have if you
Could
guys
we
want
see
to
it,
see it.
Dana?
Yeah, and so what do you intend to do to manage it forward to prevent being receiving a citation?
This is the warning and then there's the photo.
Well, I normally
How
don't.
are you going to manage that considering all the what you have to work around?
I mean, I normally don't cut down trees on my property. Like I said, this was kind of an extenuating circumstance. The hurricane knocked one down. Otherwise, I wouldn't have placed the debris out there that
So you
day.
think in normal care of your house, lawn cutting and
It's usually like 1 or 2 fronds, maybe 3. Depends. I mean, sometimes when they're, every couple months, I try and trim all of them so that they don't fall during the hurricanes. And I don't really, I guess, furthering it with that, might ask for guidance on that, given that my water main is there. I do have overhead power lines. I looked in the code. I can't have it within 10 feet of a mailbox, other shrubs, other trees, anything else like that. Venetian's 4 car lanes wide. I realize the code is the way it is. Cars park on the side of the road, using the first couple feet. I'm just asking for some discretion on it. And I have a photo of the additional debris because that wasn't all of it that I put out later that weekend. But didn't want the yard crew to clean up that one if you want to see it.
Well, I have a water main in my yard at the front where I put all my stuff. And I put a piece of PVC pipe sticking up so they know not to do that, not to be careful.
Oh, the claw, if you go around Venetian now and you can see all of the yards that have had the gentleman that drives the truck, and you can see the gigantic gouges in their front yards and the removed grass. And then am I going to get cited for not having sod on that section of my front grass? I'm kind of in a lose situation here. But normally there isn't this amount of debris.
Right. Must be a different driver because mine is perfect.
Okay, I mean, I can go and take photos of it and show it to you. This is my neighbor's. This is my neighbor's yard. It gets destroyed every week.
Yep.
And his water main is behind that too. So, I mean, yeah, there's space there. It will eventually look like that. And if that's the way that the town wants everyone's, a section of their front yard to potentially look, I don't know why on our street, then if you went through there, there's multiple like that now after the hurricane.
This is part of why I didn't like that code change.
Board members, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Lopez?
We have the photo attached to the warning. Is there another photo?
The same one.
Sounds like you intend, you have a way to,
There's one photo attached to the warning for the
sounds like
warning.
this is an extraordinary
and then there's
event.
one photo attached to the fine. So
Normal.
There's two photos.
Course of,
I'm not chopping trees down normally.
Yeah. Thanks, here's the-
I said it was-
Venetian is
What do we-
one of our main streets where people do put all their debris in the street. It's always been that way, but the council wanted that to change. That's why we did that.
I would-
Well,
this-
we all know that part of
get
the
a
problem
select
is
few
that
on
when the
other
truck comes down the street, if the debris is in the street, the truck has to park on the other side of it, and then nobody can drive while the truck is picking up the,
I would disagree that. I drive by him every Monday when he
Yep.
comes
Well,
by.
Venetian is
It's-
bigger than.
It's 4 lanes wide on Venetian.
okay, well,
It
Yeah, it
is.
becomes an
on
issue
that particular
two-lane
street,
roads.
but
Yes, I get it around the residents, but
And-
that's why I'm asking for discretion on Venetian.
But
This is the ordinance the council has requested the police department and all of the police officers to assist and enforce it. So
I agree. And if it's not that, it's gotta be all through the town, because once they start doing it and everybody else starts walking, oh, they can put it in the street, other people will put it in the street and everything. I will admit, the trash pickup, I too thought I'd be having a spot on mine. I do not. They actually do a really good job picking up. I'm surprised about that. But there's people that do walk at night and stuff, and that becomes a major hazard. And it looks like there is, I understand you don't want the grass to be, put stuff on it or whatever, but we all, as in this town, have to do it. And especially like West Lake Drive, Pine Tree, you have to, because there's no choice. That's the main thoroughfare.
So then I'm asking for leniency, given that a hurricane knocked a tree down. I get it's not like that on a normal weekly basis. It's not a problem. It wasn't a problem this week, wasn't a problem for weeks before that. This one specific is that a tree came down. Like, this is my first, besides the warning, it's my first citation for anything, at our house. That's why we're here asking for leniency.
Mr. Lopez, I'm looking at this picture right here.
Yes. Yes, and I can show you the additional debris that it ended up being.
that's the warning one.
Okay,
That's the small pile.
and you're saying
But I gotta treat them all fairly.
you don't
got
have
something in the road,
enough
you got-
room, you don't have enough room in your yard to put a large amount of,
I would be violating the code that I would be within 10 feet of anything else. So do you want me to violate the rest of the code to satisfy this code?
10 feet within,
I can't be within 10 feet of my mailbox, another tree, a hedge, a shrub, or my neighbor's, he has trees, his water main, the overhead utilities.
That would be the entire town.
That's the way the code's written. So I'm going to be
I think
violating one.
I think the main thing is that the town would like the roadways completely.
They don't want it in the street.
That's it. And people walk at night. We don't have sidewalks.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I understand.
And you're clear that that's not going to be an issue moving forward, and it hasn't been an issue before. And
It-
so specifically what you're asking for is leniency on this fine due to
The extenuating circumstances.
extenuating circumstances.
Can you
I
tell me
would
what
support a
section of that
motion waiving
code
the
you're
fine.
referring to that says within so many feet of your mailbox? Because I'm looking at bulk and vegetative waste and I
Tried to
don't
bring
see
up
it.
Unicode. Okay, it wasn't loading earlier.
Are you looking at the book or online?
I'm looking at my book
Council.
that I printed.
It's
Because
4613.
we updated the code in September.
Okay,
online.
this I printed on October 21st.
Okay, so you should.
So
be good.
hopefully
Yeah,
it's
you're
the
good.
most recent.
And
I will try and find it.
what's it say?
Well, it's got a very small section about bulk and vegetative waste, but I don't see where it says, oh, wait. I
It's
apologize.
Subsection B.
Subsection B,
Yes.
thank you. Placement is not under any overhead utility or within 10 feet of the ground level or above ground
The
level
whole
utility, fire
town
hydrant, mailbox,
power
tree,
lines.
shrub, bush, or other obstruction or hazard.
That's why that code shouldn't have been passed or changed to begin with. It should have,
So what would be the alternative for him? If he can't place his yard
Yeah,
waste,
his entire house has a power line.
Yeah,
The whole
I
street
move
The whole
to
street does on
waive
that side.
the
The
fine.
whole town has power lines.
So
Yeah.
I-
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the fine considering the circumstances and the evidence provided in this case here. Citation 22-0415, Joseph Lopez, first violation of section 46-13 subsection A. Is a first offense, no prior.
You don't have a second yet.
I'll
and,
second.
Okay. No. Now you can go ahead and discuss it.
I was just saying in addition, yeah, so there's no prior issues. There's just, it's a conflict of codes, very obvious. And I think we need to do homework as a town.
Well, and,
Personal opinion.
and more importantly, you have agreed you're going to,
Yeah, that's
place
another
it
thing.
off the
He's
street.
gonna work around it. Sorry.
Well, he's done it twice. The first time he got a warning, the second time he just went ahead. It's still in the same place and on the road and not on the grass. I'm just telling you, that's not right.
What's to prevent you from doing this again?
I mean, I thought that given the amount of the debris and that it was a hurricane, we were still under a state of emergency as a state. That, you know, I didn't think that that was going to be, given that if you went up and down most of the town, everyone had a lot of debris out. Technically, yeah, there is nothing that could stop me from doing it again, except like, I'm not trying to be in here every month, trying to combat a citation. I try to live my life and let others live their lives and don't want to be, you know, dealing with this. And so, no, like I said, ever since that warning, there's debris, you know, from those coconut palm trees daily that I take out or the yard crew takes out when they're mowing and put it there. And it's on the grass most of the time. And it's not in the road. It's not sticking multiple feet out. Maybe part of the frond is laying on the grass or on the concrete, but it hasn't, obviously I haven't gotten a citation for it every week since that first warning.
Well, I know.
Isn't the yard crew supposed to remove?
They don't cut them. They're just already on the ground.
Isn't the yard landscaping services supposed to remove the debris if they're working on the
So
property?
the town doesn't have a problem with it as long as it's not in the street.
And they don't cut those fronds. So they're just the ones that fall from the trees themselves. It's not like they're cutting the trees.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor.
I had one more thought to add.
Mhm.
Section D of this section of the code says no bulk or vegetative waste shall be placed out on any non-collection day after a tropical storm or hurricane watch has been issued by the National Weather Service for Palm Beach County.
This was after the storm came through, though. I understand before a storm, they don't want you out there, so it's not flying debris.
Right.
This was 2 days after the storm.
Right,
So then-
but it was still not on your collection day. Or the
Collection day's Monday, then, I mean, that's a lot larger issue that I didn't get cited.
So Dana, what's the remedy the next time he's in violation?
He'll get another fine
He'll get another fine.
immediately, yes.
Yes, you won't go.
And
through the
it
warning.
doesn't mean that his stuff has never been out. I just haven't seen it, or maybe one of the other guys haven't seen it. But it is a normal thing for the entire street of Venetian. The same people put all of their stuff in the street. After the storm, they are the only street that did it. Only street. The rest of the town, it was all in their front yards. I didn't find another pile.
All right, so is there any more
Look up the,
necessary comments? Are you ready to vote on this motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed?
Hey,
Nay. Okay, the motion has failed.
Duly noted.
Well, yeah, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to reduce the fine to $65. It's the first time it's happened. I'm not, I understand that he didn't really mean to, but I mean, I don't think we can just cast aside the town council's wishes. I'd make a motion that we lower the fine to $65.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion on the motion, current motion?
I think we have other cases that are similar in nature on this, and we're just setting a precedence for the other cases after this. And Venetian, I've been on that, walked a lot and everything else. It is something that specific street is notorious for debris on the roadway.
So am I being punished for my neighbors and what they do on my roadway?
No, sir.
It sounds like it.
Well, that's your opinion, sir.
Okay, well, you keep citing all of the others on Venetian when you made my decision. All the others on Venetian, I thought it was specifically my case, not all of the others on Venetian.
It is your case, sir.
Doing it.
Is there any further discussion on the motion that's been moved and seconded to reduce the fine to $55?
65.
65? I'm sorry, 65. Is there further discussion? You ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion to reduce the fine to $65, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Okay, the motion fails. We're back to the violation. Is there any more motions? We need a motion.
Somebody make a motion.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-415, I move that the board find the respondents in violation of sections 46-13 sub A of the town code ordinances and move that the respondents be ordered to correct the violation and honor.
Well, to,
It's not
Huh?
fair.
I think what you're doing here, this
Impose a fine.
This is technically an appeal, so you would either affirm the issuance of the citation
Okay.
or reverse.
okay, so you
You'll
move
have to
to,
wing it.
move to enforce the fine.
Okay.
Because
I
there's no
motion to
vegetation.
impose the fine.
So,
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion, further discussion among the board members? Mr. Lopez?
So to be clear, I need to violate other code and ordinances to satisfy this one ordinance,
What?
the 10-foot rule.
Oh,
Possibly you could put out less at one time, and then there would be plenty of room to pick it up.
So then I'm just supposed to stack all my vegetation week after week and it build up and get rodents, insects, and I mean, I have 10 to 11 trees. I don't like, I'm just asking if, and it's, the water main is within 10 feet there. So then I'm just asking,
I would just
Whatever.
put it on your grass or put it in the driveway. And then what you said here, Emily's there. She'll address that with the town manager.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Nay.
Aye. Or nay.
I support the motion. That's
4-2.
4-2. Motion carries.
Can I come grab those from you so I don't,
Yes, ma'am.
so they don't get misplaced? Please.
The next case is 220417, Christopher Zambelli. Oh, thank you. Give us 1 second, sir. Dana, I'm assuming that in this case, there was an initial warning.
Yes,
There has to be, right, for a fine to be in place now?
yes, correct.
That
With
was,
vegetation, because of the way the new ordinance is, there is no, I spoke to you, I warned you, it's a written and a fine. They all have to be treated the same because of this is
okay.
different. On June 2nd, 2022, I issued the property located at 7031 Venetian Way a warning for vegetation placed in the street, section 4613A. And I also wrote on there, the second one will be the $125 fine. It was posted at the property and sent regular mail. Then on September 30th of 2022, I issued the same property a fine. Shortly after the fine was issued, Mr. Zambelli, the homeowner, did contact me, let me know he had been out of town and his lawn man had did that, and that he has worked due diligently to remove it anytime that they have broken the rule. And he said that by me leaving it on the front door, someone could have broken in his house. Please note, when I do code enforcement, I don't take out a house watch book and see if people are out of town. If you have a violation, the violation is written. That's not how we do code enforcement.
Town thing, my house was
So-
on hurricane.
So
I just want to let you know, That's all.
Mr. Zambelli.
Okay, like I said, I was out of town, filed it with the police department, and I have been on since the warning, I took a picture, sent it to my lawn guy. When they make the mistake, I push it up. I'm semi-retired. I disappear a lot now. So when I left my house, as far as the warning goes, I had my shutters all closed. No one's home. So I have a copy of the fact that I was away. My lawn guys did it. I sent them another picture, and I can't do anything if I'm not there.
You understand that you're responsible for your lawn guys.
I know.
Nobody else is
I yell at them
responsible
all
for
the
them.
time,
What's
but
that?
I can't yell at them from Dallas, Texas. So I constantly push it up.
You could tell them not to put it in the street.
I
Right?
do it all the time.
Well, then maybe you should find.
I'm one of those
company.
anal, every lawn guy's great for the first few months, then they all stink.
So you're
I've
saying
had
it's
enough
not
of
your
my time that they're all the
responsibility,
same.
it's
Everything's
not your
perfect.
responsibility, it's the landscaper's responsibility.
I'm not saying it's not mine, but I'm just saying I wasn't there and I always push it up.
Okay, just trying to clarify.
And I was out of town, and as far as up in my house feeling unsafe, I noticed in my door, all my hurricane shutters are closed. I use my garage like people normally supposed to do, put your car in there, and I go through my kitchen. I never use my front door. So if there's a notice there, it could be there for a month before I even recognize it.
You don't look in your front yard. is
No.
what you're saying.
Don't go to my front door for mail. I'm not an Amazon shopper.
But that
I'm a
is,
hunter. I go out and shop myself.
that is your responsibility to look in your own front
I
yard.
just scan the front door as I pull into my driveway.
Board member discussion.
I guess I feel that what you're telling us and everything else, it sounds like it's just going to keep happening.
No,
It's
it's
like
not
when
gonna
you're
happen.
on
I'm always on it, and my neighbors are always pretty good about it. I mean, my neighbor Teresa will always yell at my lawn guys for it. But it was the weekend, the things were coming, and in fact, her mother broke surgery, whatever. But my neighbors are pretty good at watching my house when I'm away. Teresa takes in the mail. She sees the lawn guys do it. She's told them in the past. I tell them all the time. I know they're not going to do it now because I'm refusing to pay them. If I have to pay you, I'm not paying them.
Fair enough. I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
So just a note, my neighbor was putting stuff in the street. Well, excuse me, the landscaping company was. And I went to the fellow that was putting it out there and I said, do you know you can't put it out there? He said, no, I didn't know that. I said, well, you need to move it all back.
No, my lawn guys
And you know
know.
what? He moved it back and it's never been out there since then.
No,
And that was the property owner's responsibility, not even mine. But the landscaper did it because he was instructed to do that. Maybe you should try harder to instruct your landscapers.
I'm one of those people like my yard a certain way. Trust me. I'm on it. I'm a personal trainer. I don't take crap from anybody. I make them do push-ups. I make them put their yard where it is.
Further discussion. Any comments?
I predict I don't have support to waive this thing, so I'm just not bothered.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion, we uphold the fine of $125.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Further discussion on the motion? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Okay, so who do you pay?
Emily can tell you who to pay.
Yeah, you can come to town hall tomorrow or in the next few days to pay. Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Next item of business would be unfinished cases. Joseph Shear and Cassandra Shear.
Oh, okay. Dana. Thank you.
Dana, case 220050. Mr. Shear, trellis built on the side of residence without building permit. Thank you
was-
for coming again, Mr. Shear. We'll let Dana bring us up to date.
I was informed by Emily today that they're on the zoning board agenda for November.
November 16th.
And that's a photo that I took today.
So really, in all this time, nothing has changed.
No, but he did his, zoning board
Well, because he has to go through those.
for the variance.
Right.
I've applied for my variance, so I made
Wow.
19 copies, gone through the whole process, met with the variance board, and now
Is that because they don't meet every month? Is that why it's?
Yeah, it's
so
every
long?
other month.
Every other month?
Mhm.
So you met with the zoning board?
yes, ma'am.
I'm just-
No,
Thought it
he-
wasn't
No,
until November.
No,
It's not until November.
The zoning board, the people with the variance,
I think you met with staff.
the
The zoning board.
essentially I met and discussed
The
this for the
variance.
variance.
Okay, that was
Had a
with
private
staff.
meeting at town with, so I'm not sure who, they didn't identify themselves.
It
as staff.
hasn't gone to the board yet.
No.
No, but I've
No,
applied.
staff.
I've applied for the variance, I've paid for the variance, I've submitted all my paperwork that's up to date with the updated survey. I've been complying. I'm just,
Is it including your variant? And I'm curious, the height of that as well?
yes, sir.
So
Yeah, and I have all 19 pages as far as my survey, where it stands, height, building plans, site plans. So I'm simply in purgatory. I'm just waiting.
And when is that meeting, Emily?
is that November
It's
16th?
on November 16th. And then it has to be, if it moves forward, then it has to be approved by the town council in December.
In December.
December.
Yeah. Mhm.
But we can know after the November 16th meeting whether they've recommended approval to council or not.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, you'll know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so we won't have a meeting until January.
And we
No,
have,
December.
December
December.
7th.
December 7th,
Yeah.
okay, November
Yeah.
16th,
Mhm.
the update.
And when is the council meeting in December?
Let me check.
Or between November 16th and the end of the year?
And then I have to apply for a permit, correct?
Yeah.
And then
So it's going to be on December 14th.
So this will be something that's almost taking a year and a half.
Okay.
well, it's going through the protocol.
Yes, sir.
okay, and our meeting in December is
December 7th.
December 7th.
Yeah, we don't have one in November.
Okay.
So at our December 7th meeting, we should at least know whether or not the zoning board has recommended approval by council. And then we should be able to get an update and know that you've applied for a permit at our January meeting then, I would think, right?
Correct.
Sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to postpone the matter to a later date.
What date? December 7th?
The January meeting, actually, January 2023 meeting. I don't see the point in, we know the steps are happening, or all that's in progress. I don't see the point of having to visit the case again in November or December.
Well, I
Well,
think-
we know
if-
it moves
um,
forward though. If they don't approve it, then we would know by
When,
December
when,
7th.
yeah, wouldn't that just come to our,
And then we wouldn't have to have it on our January agenda.
but wouldn't that information make, if it like doesn't, true, okay, fair.
It's
Yeah.
just a matter of knowing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if it's moving forward or not.
All right, then let's just postpone it till December, then,
7th.
December 7th.
December 7th. So, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 220050, I move that this board continue this matter until the code enforcement board hearing for December 7th, 2022.
Second.
Does it include, now it's discussion, right? Is that motion the same as what we have here stated in our agenda with a fine of $50 per day may be imposed until compliance is achieved? So that's all.
Yeah, it
inclusive of that.
continues, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? The motion been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. See you December 7th.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
I always show up.
Better than seeing you again in November then.
Well, and thank you for going through the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
I think we're on to page 3, case 220358, Michelle Ann and Stephen Rasmussen.
So
Dana?
it doesn't appear the Rasmussens are here. So can we go to the next for some of the individuals that are here?
We can do that.
7404 Pine Tree Lane had, I think, fines, so they're here to discuss that. Since they're the next in the line, can we go to them?
Sure.
Page 4.
Yes, page 4, the second one up from the bottom.
I thought that was in
But
compliance.
that was in compliance.
It's in compliance, but I thought,
But there is
They have a fine running.
yes.
Or they had a fine.
Okay, so this would be
They-
determining to impose the lien on the property. Is that correct?
Yes, they complied pretty quick. I have full communication with me, let me know everything that was going on, sent photos.
So came into compliance on September 14th.
Mhm.
And case was continued until September 28th. The total fine amount due is $4,900 plus administrative costs. And those are, administrative costs are,
I didn't list them in there.
oh, you didn't put them in there?
No, because it depends on how many pages the order is.
Okay,
Yeah, it's usually not that high.
okay.
So the fine ran from July 27th through September 14th.
Correct, yes. And at the last meeting, not last month because we had the hurricane, but the meeting before.
Excuse
is
me
when-
1 second.
Oh,
Could you
sorry.
tell us who you are for the
Oh,
record?
Sorry, Nicole Johnson, I'm the property owner.
Right.
I had, when the first citation came, I live in Tampa, so I wasn't able to be at the first meeting. I had my representative come and there was a little bit of miscommunication that I recognized at the last meeting, that I wasn't fully understanding that we weren't in compliance until the full permanent fence was erect. And I was under the impression we were in compliance with the temporary fence because we had an open remodel permit. And so I admitted to that at the last meeting and acted very swiftly to get a permanent fence erected. Understood the gravity during the time that the temporary fence was up. We did not have any water in our pool, and kind of went through all of that in the last meeting. We've since come into compliance. We obviously missed the meeting last month because of the hurricane. So I am just here, obviously knowing that you guys don't have to do anything, but hoping that you'll have a little bit of leniency on me, because obviously we still have a lot of landscaping to do. Thankfully today, 100% of our permits are closed out, and now we can move to finishing the landscaping and being done with contractors being on our property.
If I remember correctly, that this violation is because repeatedly the temporary fencing was always down.
So we had two barriers on the front, and we had a
But
barrier on the front,
the
and then
back
we also
around the
had a
pool.
barrier surrounding. And I brought up in the last meeting that if you pull up Papa, you can actually see, I know you guys can't trespass on my property, but if you pulled up Papa, you could see that second barrier around the actual pool.
I think at one of the meetings I did give testimony about the second barrier that I
did.
could see through the front windows.
We discussed
Because there was no walls in the house, so it allowed me to see the back. She had the second orange fence around the pool area.
Mhm.
Discussion?
But this fine is just up until September 24th, till they came into compliance. Is that correct?
Yes.
The
September
14th.
14th.
September 14th.
And the violation date was in June. The fine started July 27th, so it took 6 weeks to get into compliance?
Yes, so what Emily, and she's here as well, what she came to that first meeting in June, I believe it was, and her understanding, and again, in the last meeting, I admitted that, a subject like this, I should have, figured out how to get my kids taken care of and gotten back over here. I didn't understand the gravity because I had my contractor and my husband telling me we have an open permit, the temporary fence, it should be in compliance. So there was a misunderstanding and miscommunication between Emily and I about what was in compliance and what was being asked. And I understood it as, okay, as long as that barrier is up, we are okay so long as the permit was open. And that was clarified that that wasn't the case when I talked to Lieutenant Fisher, and I immediately worked really hard and pulled every string and connection I have because I was having multiple contractors come out, fence contractors, and they didn't want to do the job because it was too small of a job. And I was having a difficult time getting somebody to take it on and move it forward. And so ultimately I had to order all of the parts myself and beg my contractor to erect it himself. And then we were able to get the chain link done, which we pulled a permit, and everything's in compliance as of now.
As I recall, your project manager, you said her name is Emily?
Mhm.
She came to us when this first came, as I recall, and I could be wrong. She said, "No, I'll get right over there and I'll fix it right away. We won't have a problem. I'll talk to the contractors."
Mhm.
And I don't think that was done. Like, according to this, you weren't in compliance till September. I'm not sure that those.
I think that was the orange fencing.
Is that individual was the one that made the arrangements for the initial barrier outside the front that ended up being too small or something like that?
I don't
And,
know.
and fell
Kept being
over
left open.
and kept on being left open.
Mhm.
That was the initial
Okay.
attempt at trying come into compliance.
Mhm.
I would make an order.
Make a motion.
Sorry, sorry, I'm reading the word order. Yes, make a motion reducing the fine to, that's where I'm a little uncertain because but I'm open. I think of reducing the fine to $500. And the
Okay.
administrative costs of the lien.
Okay, is there a second to support the amendment? Actually, the motion, I guess, to amend the fine to $500 plus administrative costs. Is there a second? Hearing none, that motion fails. Back into this discussion.
Mrs. Johnson, can I ask you, are you planning to be an owner occupied property or is this a rental?
No, so we were actually hoping to start our kids in school this year. We weren't able to move over here because our contractor and just the environment we're in with construction materials, we are delayed multiple months. Nobody has been more disappointed with the progress on this house than me. We had just been unable to get in, so I had to enroll my kids in school. This was supposed to be done in August. Everything was supposed to be done in August, and we just closed out our final permit today, if that tells you anything about the timeline. I had to enroll my kids in school in Tampa, so we were unable to move back here for this school year. So we fully intend to finish out the landscaping and continue the progress on the property. We've made tremendous strides and turned a pretty tired house into a beautiful one. And we have beautiful renderings for the landscaping and exterior, and anything you guys can do to help me on this fine would go a long way so I can execute those landscaping plans and bring this property to the level that this neighborhood deserves.
So are you saying then the property will sit vacant until you are able to move here?
No, so we do have a business over here, so we come back and forth often, which is why we ultimately bought that property, is so we can make the transition. And unfortunately, with young kids, I have to kind of be on two coasts for until May. But my husband has been coming back and forth, and as soon as it was occupiable, he's been here for better part of the week, and we join on the weekends. So no, it's not going to sit vacant.
The chair would entertain another motion.
I'll make a motion to reduce the fine to $3,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Taylor seconds. Motion's been moved to reduce the fine to $3,000, including administrative costs.
Yes,
Oh, in addition to,
or in addition to.
is there a second? Or did we have a second?
I was the
Taylor-
second.
Taylor second, okay. All right, now, further discussion.
You understand, Ms. Nicole?
Mhm.
Fine. The seriousness is, it's not so much of the contractor, it was really the temporary fencing that multiple times, or a lot of times, the fencing was down. It was that, and I get it, and the contractor and whoever does the work, and so I understand you're away, but ultimately, like everybody else, it's the homeowner's responsibility. But whatever contractor, obviously, it'd be a different story if something happened and the notoriety would have this town would have received. It
Yep.
has-
And I understand that, and I touched on that, multiple times with the second barrier and the pool being empty. There's nothing more I can do to go backwards. I can't change the front barrier being left open. As I mentioned, the pool was empty and there was a second barrier. I have two small children, understand the gravity of what water does. I also spoke at last meeting and said that I'm going above and beyond and actually putting a baby fence at the canal as well, because that's just as big of a risk as the pool is. So in my mind, that canal has been sitting more freely available for accidents than the pool was at that time, but understand rules are the rules, and just asking for some grace.
Every time that we've discussed this case, Dana has brought up the fact that she testified to on behalf of that second barrier that went around the entire pool as well. And we had lengthy conversation about that.
She did stay in.
And the original barrier was there, but down in addition to the second one.
What's the administrative, we don't know the total of the administrative cost?
No, well, so it's the cost to record the lien, really. So if she pays the fine, if you do not waive a fine, and she pays for it, then there's no lien, there's no administrative cost. It's just if I have to record a lien, then there's going to
Right.
be administrative cost to record the lien.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And $3,000 is a significant, we're not wiping this slate. We're not setting any precedent that you're not going to be fined. It's a significant amount of money in 2 months.
Is there further discussion? Are you ready to vote on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries.
You
Thank you for
Appreciate
coming
board
back
time.
again. Okay. Case 220359, Damian Garcia, Dana.
He's not here. I've had no communication. I don't know if you want to go to another one. There is one person that is here to speak about the case, not for the case. So I don't know.
What's the difference?
You're not giving testimony on it. You're just giving your opinion and concerns. So I didn't know if that constitutes, do you want to hear the case? Because somebody's here about the case, but not giving any testimony.
Is that
I don't
allowed?
understand the difference. I'm sorry.
We need the attorney.
So
Is that allowed?
yes, anybody can talk about a case on the agenda if
Yeah,
someone has
someone
concerns.
can
That's what
speak.
you have.
I mean, assuming they're discussing the issues
Yes.
Okay.
before you.
They're not
Sure.
here for the property owner or anything, no testimony. So I didn't know if that constitutes, do you want to hear the case? Or do you want to go
Yes,
to
well,
the next case where the
chair would
family
like
is
to
here?
hear the case of
Okay.
Damian Garcia. If you could please tell us where we are on that.
So yes, I've had zero contact with anybody affiliated to the property. To me, from what it appears, he never held up what he said. This pool is different than some of the other pools I've had because this is on a, you can gain access to this pool from Westlake and from Carissa.
Oh.
You can fully see that the pool is there. It's very welcoming. The black stuff has been, the black plastic has been blowing daily. And I have not seen that the other side of the home ever be secured. He puts jet skis there, but that's not a barrier. This pool is a significant concern. And Ms. Pyzik had some concerns she just wanted to bring to your attention. Halloween, kids will be, and it's a very welcoming pool. I don't understand why no other measures were made to protect it. Somebody told me he's living there, but I'm not positive about that.
This is the case we heard where there was an interpreter that came?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they were
And they
waiting
went through a
for,
whole list of things that were going to happen
yep,
at the property.
I thought
And
one
none
of
of
them
them,
was a higher fence, wasn't it? They were gonna
absolutely.
get it up to the four.
they were going to raise it.
yes, and they were waiting for material for their fence, but no communication, no extra means. Like there is water in that pool, everything. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, hey, come
Inviting.
swim in me.
Yeah.
It hits you in the face when you drive down Carissa Road.
Okay.
So this one I'm not comfortable with at all.
All right.
So the last time we discussed this was August 24th and nothing has changed.
No,
Okay.
other than he added the jet skis to the backyard.
Ma'am, would you like to come up and tell us your comments?
Yes.
Thank
First
you.
of all, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does she need to be sworn in?
She's not giving.
I think she probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, since you're making comments.
Yeah.
go ahead.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what's your name for the record?
I'm Debbie Pesic. I'm at 7209 Clark Road. That was formerly my grandmother's house.
Oh,
And it had a white wrought iron fence around the entire backyard and also on the east side of the house. So when she passed away, the person that was handling the estate sold the house. And I never met this owner, but he immediately tore down that fence, which horrified me. When I originally took the pictures on this house, it was in July, and the fence looked exactly the same as it does today. And my oldest daughter is a trauma nurse at St. Mary's. So when she gets children that come into the trauma center, it's horrible. And so as we talked about Halloween, because, you know, we get kids busting at Halloween, busting and dropped off, which is fantastic. We have a great time at Halloween. But the teenagers, the construction debris, the fact that he put a trailer there to block the east entrance to the pool, there's no way someone wouldn't have access to that. The house is dark all the time, right? So when my sister was 3 years old, we lived in Miami, and she got up in the middle of the night and she let the dog out and followed the dog out. My parents didn't even know she left the house. She ended up on a canal with the dog, and the dog started barking, and someone heard the dog and came out and found this child on the side of a canal in the middle of the night. And they followed the dog home with the police department and found out where she lived. It could have been a completely tragic event. And my parents were not neglectful or anything like that, but sometimes really unfortunate things happen. So with all of the news this year about children that are autistic leaving their home and parents not noticing right away, they're always drawn to water. So the fact that he took this down, prior to July and has been so just complacent with not making that pool secure, the idea that there's a material shortage, it doesn't fly. I don't care how he secures that. You can't put a trailer on the east side and just say, oh, it's good. With construction debris, It's an absolute horrible situation, and I don't want the police department or anyone from Lake Clark having to explain to someone why that pool was not secured. It should have been cited the day the fence came down, and he should be fined every single day. And if he's not going to put a fence up, I don't know what else to do about it, but it's not acceptable because the police department here is responsible for the security and safety of Lake Clark. And that's a terrible burden to put on them when that pool is full of water. And if it was empty, there would be a chance of someone going back there in the dark and having a fall. You know, so there's all kinds of aspects about it. The fact that they're not here doesn't represent any interest in compliance. And I feel like he just does whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it. So that's my 2 cents. I appreciate you giving me your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Are these pictures that we're looking at current or from
Today.
they're from today?
Yep, this afternoon. I think these ones were around, I can give you.
Yeah, I saw it actually on the way
Okay.
in.
So
meeting.
the plastic
I
blows.
passed that house.
So even though that it's not on the east, he's had the trailer there, but he added the jet skis. I could, if I wanted to, not me,
Walk
but you know
over.
what I mean? Hypothetically speaking, you could just walk back there.
Right.
There's that plastic there, but it's always been drooped,
That
like they're
plastic-
stepping on it.
It's not.
It's,
Yeah,
it's not a barrier at all.
It's built.
It flaps. The whole, like
It's
when the
just to
wind comes
prevent
through,
sand from blowing.
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's,
Right.
doesn't do anything.
I don't know.
I have a
Impose
couple,
fine.
I have a couple questions,
This
Mr.
isn't
Attorney.
fine.
One is, what is the maximum fine per day that the code enforcement board, is it $250 a day?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. And second,
Up
Uh,
until-
it's on our,
cannot the town go in and secure that with a orange
Mm.
safety barrier?
Yeah, in fact, I was looking at that, thinking that's going to be the question here, and I'm checking the code, but I think.
Would we have to find out if he's living there? Because some of the
I don't
officers
think it-
told me he's living there now.
I don't think it would matter if he's living there. If he's not taken the action to secure it, I think
We didn't do that to another property. I think that property got a $20,000 lien or something put on it on Beta,
The point here
and it was
is,
fully open too.
is the safety
Yep.
of the neighborhood,
We got kids coming.
Oh, yeah.
and not how much money we can find them, at least initially. So, I mean, I'm suggesting that if the town has the ability to go in and secure that property, we should. And second of all, I suggest we propose
Order of,
a maximum fine per day.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And
I
I'll,
can see the construction material stacked up in the back. It's probably going to do a
Patio.
patio.
Mhm.
Does he have permits for anything else going on there, and are
He
they
has a lot,
valid?
he has a lot of permits.
Are
a
they
full gut.
active, valid permits? Are they expired?
Yes. Yes.
Has he had current inspection?
He has a permit for the fence,
Okay.
but they don't have the material. It was on back order.
well, he's never done what he said. he was gonna
But
do.
yeah, we asked
right.
for specific action to be taken
Yeah.
and that clearly has not been, and he's not
Right.
here to speak on it. So I think we,
And
I
it's
think-
been since
If he
August
She
24th.
just asked me the permit questions. I'm
Yeah.
just answering them.
I think we got enough to impose the fine.
Okay, so I think Jerry would like to make a motion.
Yeah.
And Bill, you said that
Wait,
for-
I wanna pass
we
one that-
can,
that'll
the town can secure it, because I have to make sure I get with
You can always
somebody.
speak against
Yeah,
it.
When we go on the property.
Okay.
Yeah, I think generally, I mean, the town would have the authority. However, I don't know there was any notice, that the town was going to proceed in that fashion. But the code does say, or state statute says, if the condition causing the violation presents a serious threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, it says the inspector shall make a reasonable effort to notify the violator, immediately notify the enforcement board and request a hearing. And then later it says that the town can enter and make the repairs. I think that the issue though at this point is that the notice just went out as a standard, which is typical, a standard code violation.
However, he was noticed of the meeting back in August, which is when we asked him to bring that into compliance and put up a fence. And
Yeah.
he's not done that since.
Yeah, I think probably the best course of action if you want to do that, and I don't know that, I don't know if this board has the authority to have the work ordered
Right.
to be done.
Do we have the authority to forward it to town council for them to have the work done?
I think you would. What I was going to suggest maybe is an order that would perhaps impose a fine now, order him to have it taken care of within
3 days?
X days, or the town will move to abate the nuisance by installing an appropriate barrier. But I don't know that, you all have the authority to,
Impose that.
to hire a contractor and
Right.
come in,
Is that something?
and do the work. But the order would say that the cost of that installation would be assessed as a lien against the property.
Wouldn't the building official have the authority to do that though in the or the fire marshal or the police chief
I
in a
was going to ask
situation?
town manager perhaps have authority to order that.
I don't know if the town manager would have the authority. I don't know.
But the building inspector's been going to the property. I'm just curious, why hasn't the building inspector? I would think the building inspector would have.
That's what I was getting at before when I was
don't
asking about
understand, yeah.
inspection.
So this is, and unfortunately, it seems like
Failure of that
all
process as
has
well.
been dropped by our, it is what it is, but it's blatant and it's been a long time. And I'm curious if I'm thinking.
But the building inspector has actually been there to confirm some things. And he's aware that it was going to the code board. So that may be why he wouldn't, because it's in the code board's hands.
Right.
He was involved in it with me.
Well, again, I would suggest we do the maximum fine, effective as soon as we can do it. And that.
Can we do retroactive of August 24th from the last meeting? Because he hasn't finished, what he said he was going to do, he did not do at all.
Right.
Right.
So that's where my motion is going to be,
Okay.
starting from August 24th.
And that as soon as permissible, the town install a barrier at the property owner's expense. As soon as that can be done and by whatever means, if that means the town council has to order that.
Sure.
And that the cost, if that is in fact happens, the cost be included in the property owners at the property owner's expense.
But if we have to wait for that to go to council to make that decision, their meeting is not until when, Emily? After Halloween?
Yes, it is.
I
It's
also-
in November.
Mr. Chair.
That wasn't a motion by me.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
It is, I think it's
also
on
recall-
November 15th.
December 15th?
No, November 15th.
November 15th.
I also recall that we actually,
We've done emergency things before.
yeah, but I also recall a few years back, we were updated that we couldn't do some, impose fines in
Retroactive.
retroactively. Thank you. Is that, would we be doing that in that? I think we would be doing that in this case.
Are we able to impose
I
fines
don't think so.
retroactively?
I don't think-
Well, you aren't, but he was here in August.
Right.
Right,
So-
so we can go back from August.
From the August date.
That's
Okay.
from
Our meeting.
our meeting.
Right.
Because
Okay.
he
Yeah.
clearly did not replace or put the 4 feet, everything. that's
Right,
wrong.
we just can't do it from before that
Just
meeting.
wanna
when
make
we
sure
gave
that
him
we're not-
direction.
That we're not
And
doing anything that
Just
violates.
again, precedents, the other case prior to this is a serious offense, and
So
Yeah.
is someone ready to construct a
Yes.
I'm gonna.
motion? All right,
Get on
All
Jerry.
right. I will do my best. Okay. Let me make sure. Okay. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-0359, I move that the board find the respondents in violation of sections, sorry, I gotta go to the next page. Sections 125-475 sub I of the town code ordinance, and I move the response be ordered to correct the violations I'm allowed to use the word immediately.
Mhm.
Immediately. And the respondent's failure to comply with this order, a fine in the amount of $250 a day from the date of August 24th, 2022, will be imposed.
Is imposed?
Not,
Huh?
Is imposed?
No, will.
it,
Will be.
Will be imposed. Is, or it's going to be imposed.
the fine is imposed.
Is
and You're
imposed.
asking him
As of
to-
today, you're
to-
imposing the fine right now.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're asking him to fix it immediately.
Yes.
I think I'm,
And
oh,
by immediately,
that's-
do we have to say within 3 days, within 72 hours? And how will he be notified of this order? Will it be delivered tomorrow?
No, usually it takes us a few days to prepare the order and have it delivered. So
Are we able
it
to do
would
something
probably be
special?
delivered on Friday or Monday.
Monday is Halloween.
Yeah.
So you give them 1 week?
Well, the
Uh,
fine is starting and we only have the ability to do what we can do and what we are in this position to do. So unless you're saying that we can go beyond that, I think we need to at least move forward with this motion.
I think it just needs to be restated for clarification. And you're using order number 5.
It's the is imposed is what we
Yeah.
clarified, like this is happening now.
It's happening now.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in the
Which,
future.
so
Right.
it shall continue to accrue until the respondent comes into compliance in addition to the town's cost for prosecuting the matter. Yeah.
So
Correct.
the way this is now said, if he comes in tomorrow and shows us all of a sudden the fence goes up, there is no fine.
No, because it was retroactive
Retroactive.
from
Retroactive
August 24th.
Or what if he comes in and pays the fine? I said, if you don't pay it immediately, say he comes in and pays the $6,000 fine tomorrow,
Well, he can't, well,
Well, that's
you know? that's
He
just-
could,
it's
but
just
then he'd
semantic.
have to come back.
he's
to
still
the code.
not in compliance.
The-
So we're
the-
back in, it's the.
The
same
fence
issue
would
for
have to be put up, like the actual permanent
Yes.
fence, so that the fine can stop.
Right.
So even if a person came in and paid it, it still can run and he's still gonna have
Exactly.
more.
And do you want to include a recommendation that, I don't know how to say it, that the town intercede in installing a temporary
Yeah.
barrier?
If I'm allowed to add that to it, or
You can,
Yeah, I
it's
think,
proper to do that?
I think you could add it. What I would say though is that in the event that the compliance is not achieved within, let's say, 10 days, the town may enter the property and abate the nuisance, or we'll use the language by installing the fence and impose the cost as a lien against the property.
That's it.
Okay.
Should we put a date specific instead of immediately? If we're gonna give the town 10 days, should we give him 10 days to make the,
he's basically getting the 10 days before the town moves, takes action to install
Right.
the fence or barrier.
okay, all right. just wanted-
Yeah, it's, so the fine's running, he has a period of time to fix it,
And
and then the town wouldn't have to abate.
10 days, okay.
And the fine's running either way.
Right.
Emily, you think you're fairly good with that?
Yeah.
She'll clean it up.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Bill about some things.
Yeah, we
probably,
can
but-
get the language,
Okay.
but we don't want to have an order mandating that the town do it, because for some reason
Right.
it doesn't get done, then the town,
Is responsible.
yeah, you don't want to have that.
Okay. Are we all pretty good with the intent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Who seconded?
Yeah,
it?
I don't think there was a second on that motion.
Huh?
We did not
Have a
second that
second.
Oh, that's
motion.
right.
We just had a long discussion after my.
Is there a second?
I'll second
You ready to vote?
it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. All right. Thank you. Whew.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that, folks.
Can we get some clarification for future reference about this type of a situation? And if the town does need to take action, what the process would be? Just
maybe even added to our little cheat
I
sheet.
agree.
Yeah, I can certainly do that.
That would be
Giving away the
helpful.
Thank you.
secret sauce.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I don't know if you remember, there was a case, I think it might have been, it was last year on Westlake Drive where the property was vacant. The lady was not living there, an older lady. And so the town went on the property and maintained the landscape
Yes.
after the board asked the town to do it. But we had to give them a notice. I don't remember what was the timeline, but we had to give, the town manager had to give them a notice. And then what we did is we didn't record it as a lien. It just goes on the non-ad valorem assessment that is collected every year. And actually, we're still maintaining that property right now.
Really?
But that came from the council, correct?
No, I think it was the town manager that issued that letter.
Okay, but the original thing to go in and take care of the property came as a directive from the council.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't
I
remember.
thought it
I
came
know
from the
Case
code board, no?
No, it's already
We
gone
didn't
past the
recommend it?
code board, I think.
We should move
Okay.
to the next
Yeah,
And it-
case.
waiting.
We should move to
I
the-
have, okay, so let's finish this.
And we
then
can- we
I
have-
something to ask.
Other
Dana.
But we have
So-
comments and suggestions at the end of the meeting that we can cover this stuff.
Okay, so the next case, under new cases, is 220403, Sarah Hanson. I'm sorry it's taken so long for you guys. Entertaining, huh?
Figuring us out.
Let
You're like, it's
Dana,
not only us.
tell us where we are, and
Not only
then
picking on us.
we'll have you come up. Dana, this is driveway in disrepair, and you have a
Yes.
picture there, okay?
Yes, Emily has the photos that were taken today. On June 2nd of 2022, I issued the property located at 6701 Pine Tree Circle a violation for the driveway in disrepair, section 34-20, 34-19, subsection 9B, AB. I can't even read my own handwriting. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, 9. Had it right. Okay. I posted the notice at the door and sent it via regular mail. Shortly after, Ms. Harrison did contact me and let me know that they were going to be doing some revamping to their home, and they didn't want to do the driveway until after that was done with all the machinery and work trucks and things that would be on her driveway. So I did leave a little bit of time to try to see something. That's not her driveway. That's Rasmussen's. That's a really bad driveway.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
That case we have to go back to.
Don't make their case for us there.
Right.
That's their driveway. And I tried to take some, so I gave it a little extra time, and on Monday, September 19th, 2022, I issued the property, the hearing notice for today's meeting. And while I was doing that, Ms. Harrison did come home and she signed it and discussed further that she was still trying to follow through with it and would come here and discuss it with you guys, and she's here.
What exactly?
Come on up.
So there's other photos to try to show. Remember, because I have to take everything from the street.
Yeah, can we see?
You have other photos, Emily?
There should be some other ones, like where it's, and then there are other part of the driveway. It's hard to show where it's kind of missing.
Well, that's a good chunk there.
I did give her a little bit of recommendations about, because hers isn't as extensive as some of the others. They could probably do theirs
Ms. Harrison?
themselves.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Um,
Could you tell us who you are for the record? If
I'm
this
Sarah-
gentleman's talking,
I'm
he could tell us also.
Yeah, I'm Sarah Harrison. This is my husband, Craig Harrison.
Okay.
Thank you.
So at the time, we were more or less talking about doing some renovations, kind of figuring out what we're gonna do. We want to do some additions and kind of a big amount of work. Now we sort of have some plans in set. We just had a survey done last week, and this week we had a meeting with an architect who's going to draw up some plans for us. So we're kind of in the beginning phases, but one of which is completely removing our roof is old and needs to be redone. We're doing windows, we're doing central air. So all of these things are going to be, I think, a big dumpster on the driveway, removing a roof and all kinds of things. So driveway is for sure on the list, but it's at the bottom of the list. So
Natural.
just
order.
because I'm afraid if it gets cracked or dinged or leaked on or whatever, I just feel like it makes more sense to let it last. That being said, I know it's going to be a long process, especially hearing the girl before us. So that's kind of my thoughts.
And you have no permits yet, right?
Not
For-
yet.
For anything?
No, because we don't have our actual plan.
And could you fill in those holes right there with asphalt?
Probably.
There's no doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
it's obviously, you know,
I mean,
the driveway
it's
is,
ugly. I'm not
the
saying.
driveway is in
And
disrepair.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And we're gonna move forward to fix everything.
What's your timeline? If you don't mind me, because
We're
obviously,
gonna start, hopefully we're starting to break ground in January, with everything kind of lining up. So,
The general-
with the, you know, the survey we just got on Monday, architect was there on Monday. We have a general contractor already involved, called for a soil boring test today. So we're just getting all of our ducks in a row and,
The
you know,
GC said he likes to keep it under 12 months. So I'm guessing right about that for total job.
so you're saying that driveway is not going to be touched for a year?
Unless you want me to do it now, I'll do it now. I just feel like it's.
Well, yeah.
it-
I think what it comes to for us too right now is obviously financially, we're in a big undertaking. So we're paying for things, you know,
A little at a
consecutively.
time.
Every day it's the survey.
They can fill in theirs. Another woman did it and it actually, hers was much worse than yours and it actually looks pretty good. She did it herself.
I mean, we could put a temporary Band-Aid on it if that's what the board
In the
decides.
And
for us
that will
to
get
do.
you out of
That's all
here.
you need to do to come into compliance.
Yes.
I'm actually, from these pictures, it's hard.
It's hard to tell you. It's
I don't feel that.
There are some spots on the
It
driveway.
looks like
where the
something of
asphalt
a
is coming
quarter
from.
of an
There's
inch.
no doubt.
Right, they're very
different.
shallow, but I mean.
It's not exposing the shell rock beneath or anything. It's still.
It's hard to give you the photo. It's.
There are
And,
places, Mr. Hernandez, that are, you know, that are coming up a little bit and that do, you know, the driveway is obviously going to be fixed. I mean, the grandiose
Well-
put pavers in and have a nice,
You could temporarily
So you don't
patch
need
it
a
up
brand
for
new
us, right?
to come in.
sorry.
You could temporarily patch it up.
Yeah, that's all you need.
If that's
You don't have to.
if that's what you like, we would certainly do it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Another resident did it and hers, she was in the same, like a financial thing and it actually came out better than I would have thought and hers was a little
Not
worse.
that we would prefer to see forever a patched driveway.
Right.
but-
Okay.
No, but you
Yeah.
know what? It's a great alternative because, I mean, if we were to redo it now, we did it, I think 6 years ago. I think we had it redone and just kind of black topped over. And so it's lasted that long for us. Now, you know, again, that was, you know, roughly $1,200 the guy came out.
You don't need to do.
Well, you did the whole driveway. You don't have to do the
Correct.
whole driveway.
Correct.
You could do this yourself.
We-
The fixing, you could. Really, I'm serious.
Yeah, no.
Everyone has different skills, Dan.
Sorry. You know, I work at the breakers and food and beverage. I don't car driveways, but I'll try for you guys.
Well, the other lady did. It was
Get
kind
the
of fun.
bag of asphalt stuff,
Well-
put it in the hole, you drive your car back and forth.
There you go.
No, you don't drive your car back.
I think most importantly is that you are saying you will take immediate action
Of course.
to repair the driveway within the next, before our next meeting.
It's taken me like 10 minutes to realize that this is a block behind my house.
Yes.
Circle, yeah.
Yeah.
Would someone like to make a motion?
It's a quiet little street.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Taylor.
This one, 0403, right? Is it your, yes, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-0403, I move that this board continue this matter until the code enforcement board hearing on December 7th.
Is there a second?
I second it.
You ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries.
All right. So you have 30 days to come into compliance.
No,
It
60.
takes
It's
the
more than
simple-
30 days.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, sorry. That's the norm.
Excuse
Sorry, I
me.
went into automatic
It's okay.
seal mode.
Have
Excuse
until
me?
December 7th.
Yeah,
You
just
have until
fill it in,
December 7th.
smooth it out,
Okay.
make it more presentable. You
Yeah,
can
we'll
call
do-
me, I'll come over way before, whatever and.
The,
Dana's an expert driveway person.
No, 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 no.
I know.
But look at it this way, we are looking forward if you are going to do pavers or do something else to add to the community. So that's
absolutely.
wonderful, but obviously it's not in your
Our home was
first
built
year
in
plan. This is probably year 2, year 3
Carrie's
type.
a girl before us and she, everything got pushed back. We're looking
Yeah, I
at each
looked
other
over at her, I
going.
said, oh no,
"Great."
what are we in for? But you know,
So-
we're gonna go forward
we
with it
are-
anyway. And we got some great plans for the home and to really bring it up and,
Yeah.
you know, kind of fit in with some of the rest of the homes on our street, you know, that have done a really great.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you very
Appreciate
much.
Of course.
I have a question. So is the property in violation or not?
Yes,
Okay.
property is in violation.
So do we have to modify the motion to find it in violation?
I thought that was the intent of the motion. No?
Right.
We just continued the case. Do we have to find the property in violation or can we continue it as is?
It either is or isn't in violation.
And it is.
We are.
I thought they issued a violation, so.
We have a code citation,
Number 3.
so.
That's a notice that
But it could be
the
mill.
code enforcement
May, or-
officer believes the property is in.
It's just the violation is what they have, yeah.
So we have to
And a hearing
confirm
notice
whether
for
we
here.
believe it is in violation.
It's whatever
or not.
she prefers. She has a I mean, to continue it or to find a violation and
But we didn't
and
impose.
order
it.
it.
Well, let's put
Right,
this,
so-
if they come back on December 7th
I understand.
and they are still in violation, then would we, based on that motion, be able to then go from today's date and fine?
No, I don't think.
No, no, you wouldn't do that.
no, it would be
So
effective
we
that
would need
date,
to amend the, yeah. the motion.
which I would be okay with, but
We want to know that the property owner is going to come into compliance because of the status. It's in violation right now. We believe that the property owner is going to come into compliance by the next meeting.
Okay, will make a motion.
Okay?
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-0403, I move that this board find the respondents in violation of section 34-20 and 34-19, subsection 9, subsection B of the Town Code of Ordinances, and I move that the respondents be ordered to correct this violation on or before December 7th, 2022, and if the respondents fail to comply with this order, a fine in the amount of $50 a day may be imposed.
I second it.
Motion's been moved and second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you guys for coming.
thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I'm just like, I
Have a
can
good
really
evening.
read.
Next item of business is board comments and suggestions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I
Good night.
have,
Thank you.
I have two.
I don't think we were done. I think we.
You
skipped
have
the
to go back
case.
to the Rasmussens.
oh,
Oh, yeah. we're
Oh,
not
did
finished.
I miss one?
Yes,
We had went back because there's nobody here.
there's no one here.
Oh,
So on
Sorry.
page 3 at the bottom, case number 22-0358. I have had zero contact with anybody
right.
pertaining this violation, so I have nothing to give you except for the photos that I took today.
Okay, and this was a $50 a day.
Yeah,
They did come to the
May be
last
imposed.
meeting.
yes.
And there's no change. Is that
That's the address.
right, Dana?
They have given me no communication. No change.
Okay.
are there,
And I try to take pictures as good as, it's a little hard because, you know, in the photo you don't get the depth
yeah.
perception, but the other
very
one where the car is parked,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a trench.
Mm.
So like if somebody's
Motion.
running,
That's pretty big.
they do.
Oh, there's a
Go ahead.
puddle.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do
Okay,
a motion.
go ahead.
So
Based on the testimony,
wait.
oh, sorry.
Yuli just mentioned that they do have a driveway permit, which was picked up recently, sometime last week, maybe earlier this week.
Was
So-
picked up.
But they didn't call me and tell me anything, so I didn't know.
Oh, we
I would
continue.
still move.
Yeah,
That means
that's
it's
okay.
approved, the permit was approved, is that what?
If they picked it up, yes,
Yeah.
that would mean that the permit was approved and they're allowed to start work.
Colloquial, or?
As of today, the property is still in violation.
And they picked the permit.
It's fine, yeah.
They
Based on
only
it,
applied
yeah.
for like 2 weeks ago then probably for,
So
you're like,
no, the permit process has been taking a little bit longer than normal because
Okay.
hybrid has been short-staffed.
okay.
So
Is
they,
that
they,
like
you know, I don't know when
next-
they applied for it,
Yeah.
Well,
probably longer than 2 weeks ago.
it's still
Still in violation since
still
August.
in violation, and we said
Mhm.
we may impose a fine, so.
And he was here in August when we said that. To
Yes,
today.
that is correct.
6, so.
Yeah.
And this is
Okay.
2 months later.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We had the hurricane. All right. Well, then. And it was approved, the permit you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 22-30358,
Do you have something?
I move that the board find the respondents in violation of sections 34-20, 34-19, sub 9, sub B of the town code of ordinances, and I move the response to be ordered to correct the violation on or before December 7th of 2022. If the response failed to comply with this order, a fine in the amount of $50 per day may be imposed.
I think
I
we've
Well, that's
already
what you
done
already
The
got.
fine,
So we're
I
just
think
gonna-
we need to go to number 5.
yes.
Can I just add one more thing that Yuli just mentioned? They did have issues with the survey, so that also did delay their permit. They had to get a new survey with a contractor and all that stuff got worked out, so that may have delayed their process as well, she said.
That doesn't make up for them not communicating.
Just adding what I was told so you
I was
know,
gonna
but
say,
nope.
how are we
So really,
supposed to know that if?
the fine
didn't-
will
they
be-
did-
Well, it's great that you're giving us the
fine will
information
be
or that Yuli is, but
imposed.
there'd be
Okay.
no way for us to have.
They didn't tell me, so.
Still with number 3 or start to number 5 again?
5.
Fine.
We can't find if I violate. We already did.
have to
We already
order it.
did the
We have to
violation
order
and said
assessment.
we would do the fine. So. I
Okay,
think we're
ba-
Or
fine.
continue. It's either assess or continue.
Mhm.
Or your more logical option.
We'll go with
Vote
number 5.
assess.
Yep. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-0358, I move that this board find the response in violation of sections 34-20, 34-19, 9, subset B of the town code of ordinances and impose a fine in the amount of $50 a day commencing
August 24th.
I'm thinking August 24th, 2022, which shall continue to accrue until the response come into compliance in addition to the town's cost for prosecuting the matter.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you for everybody's guidance.
Who seconded?
I
Who's-
did.
Okay.
Okay.
So board comments?
Yeah, I have 2 things. Emily, do you have those pictures that you can bring up
Yep.
for me, please?
Mm-hmm.
Some of you may or may not be familiar with this property at 7011 Hayden Road.
Mr.
Uh,
Faber?
As far as I know, the owner is still Mr. James Barbie.
Mhm.
I wanted to just bring it up, show you a couple pictures, and then ask the town's attorney if he could bring us up to date on
This matter?
where we are as far as a town with this property.
Yeah, it has quite a history and certainly well beyond my involvement, but I think it goes back to 1996. You talk about quite a history.
Longer than me.
But there was
Wasn't here.
litigation years ago, I think
town
maybe 15, 20 years ago, where a court found Mr. Barbie in violation, and he agreed to not be in violation for another 5 years, or a permanent injunction could be entered. And then and I have the paperwork here. And there have been fines imposed, but it's homestead. Then in 2014, a subsequent order was entered that provided that the owner had not complied with the prior order and was in violation again, and provides that the town can enforce the stipulation or the court imposed a permanent injunction. So he's enjoined from violating the town code sections referenced, which is basically cleaning the property up. It's my understanding the town council is aware of this. This came up recently at a meeting, and I don't know that they've given any direction yet whether to pursue the litigation. There were attorney's fees imposed. There's been fines imposed. Nothing seems to truly change the property particularly. But I think the town's best option would be if the town council chooses to pursue this, would be to get back in court and find him in violation of the injunction.
And I think there's hundreds of thousands of fines. isn't there?
182.
Well, and that's just,
Oh, more than that. There's more than that,
That's
397 or 390.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's homestead and it would not attach. So
Oh, okay.
Do the liens that are imposed expire?
they would
Or do they run in
expire.
perpetuity?
No, they expire after a certain period of time. I think it's 10 years.
I just saw something the other day at work and I'm thinking 20, but I could be.
Yeah,
wrong.
let me double check that.
So some of these that were imposed in 96 and 2002 would be expired unless the town moved to renew them.
this is one that's very unique.
1800 bucks.
Well,
Yeah.
the
Somehow-
next one,
Somehow I thought some part of the
expiring
Palm Beach
January.
County court system got involved in
Right.
this.
Legal aid came in.
Hmm?
Legal aid. They came in and I think they helped him while I was here sometime. And then before that, I believe the town actually spent a lot of money and cleaned it up before.
Is
But
everyone
they're-
familiar with this property? I'm just
I am.
curious. Because
Yeah,
are any of you?
no,
have used-
I didn't know the history of it. I'll bet.
Okay.
those are my pictures.
Okay, I've been to that problem, actually, that doesn't look as bad as it has been for long periods of time. Unfortunately,
Oh, that's just the front. view.
right, but
Yeah,
it's,
oh no, there's more.
it's bad.
I think
But-
we probably shouldn't make any more comments about what the property looks like in case it comes back before us.
Yeah, you don't
Well,
want to
they're
get
still
into it.
running. Those
Yeah.
same violations are still
Sounds
running.
like,
Yeah.
I
You are
can't think-
correct. That was 20 years on the lien,
okay.
20 years.
I didn't
And
know
so the one that's going to expire, if it was imposed in 2013, oh, that's only 10 years, never mind.
Mhm.
My question is though, it looks like the last lien was imposed in 2017. So does that mean the property's not been cited since 2017? For any newer violations?
I recall Mr. Clark mentioning, or maybe it was Councilman Show, the other town council attorney, mentioning that all of that activity had to be paused because of a court order, something to that effect.
Yeah, one of the court orders said that before the town would pursue additional code enforcement, there would be a 30-day notice and sort of a mediation type process. I think that's probably what you're referring to.
Yeah.
I think that's by the wayside in the sense that the last order just imposed a permanent injunction. I mean, one of the problems is as legal aid comes in, they claim that there is such a thing as sort of a hoarding disorder and that he has ADA protection and that there's mental health issues and all that. And, we don't want to get into all that, but I mean, they raise those sorts of things to muddies it all up. I mean, not that the town can't go back in and enforce the injunction to make him clean it up, but I think that would be the better course of action because I don't know if he would show up at a meeting here, but I mean, if he shows up and
He
Does-
did, he did
doesn't-
in the past.
I'm sorry,
The other ones that are issued by, he did come and legal aid did come.
yeah.
And I
But-
can't issue violations to him because they're running.
Because you can't issue violations for these sections.
Right, which
of-
is what he has. That's,
Okay,
It doesn't seem like issuing the violations has been effective anyways.
no, but if no action has been really taken since 2017,
Well, aren't you kind of describing to us that that action really would need to come from the town and not this board?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's,
But we could recommend to the board or the town council. I do not think it's fair to the neighbors, that property owner's neighbors. I don't think it's fair. If they wanted to sell their property next door to this piece of property,
it sold before. And that's the guy that's living there. He bought it.
because it certainly could lower the property values of the neighborhood.
Well, I think,
I personally think that the town should renew its efforts to do something about the
Yeah.
property.
I mean, that entire road actually has a lot of problems with the multifamily properties on it. A lot of the driveways there are in disrepair. I'm surprised those haven't been brought up too.
so per this discussion this evening, are you stating action that you would like us to take?
I'm suggesting that whatever action the town council can take on behalf of the town to do something about this property, they should do it.
I'll second it.
well, first off, I think the town council is working on it.
I don't know.
They recently brought
Bob Shalhoub brought it up at the last council meeting.
Yeah, I saw that in the minutes.
You saw that in the minutes. So it is somewhat on their radar. They're well aware of it. And I don't know that our board can say, hey, council, do something.
Yes, we
about it,"
can.
You know?
Yes,
But we're the
can.
code enforcement board, so
We can do that.
we should have something on record stating that.
Well, you can request that the town council take action. I mean, but then it's their call
Yes.
on what to do. And,
Exactly.
So how
and
would we motion for that, attorney?
you would just have a motion recommending that the town council proceed with enforcement for this property.
Pretty.
And what about keeping these liens ongoing, or what are they gonna, how can,
But I don't think you need to recommend that. We can look at that and see what needs refiled and. But I'm sure the liens exceed the value of the property.
Oh, yeah.
Can't tell.
Mhm.
Chairman, would
Please.
you like to make that motion?
yeah, I'll make that.
You can't make-
Oh, I'm sorry.
I motion that this board, code enforcement board, request the town council to look over or the property. I forget the 7011
7011 Hayden Road, correct?
Hayden Road to be revisited in
The near future.
what extend.
Pursue enforcement.
Pursue enforcement of the liens and various code violations. And I'll put a name in there. It's a hazard to this sanitary hazard to this community. And it requires immediate attention. I don't know if I can go that far.
I think we all agree with the intent of the motion. Is that right? Is there a
Mhm.
second?
I'll second.
Yeah.
Do we need any further discussion?
No.
Mr. Attorney, you think,
You can make it better, make it sound better for me.
No, I
you
think,
can work with Emily on the exact,
yeah, it's just you're recommending they pursue enforcement.
yes, it's gone on too long. And if there's anything more that can be done, it should be done. We all agree with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The next item I have real quick is that anybody that listened to the last, I believe it was the last council meeting, there was this discussion about trailers.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
Okay, well, I'd just like to state that I was not aware that because of the action they took at that meeting, trailers can now, any kind of trailer can be in the driveways of property owners in town.
Really? I thought,
And the boats.
And the boats, and they don't have to be moved.
No,
I
And
thought they
and they can
Why
have
did
as
they
many
do that?
trailers as they want
Moratorium on it.
it's just while they're working on the ordinance.
while they're working on the ordinance. And it was suggested to me today by one of the council members that they hope to take action by the next council meeting. But you know what that means? That means they're going to come up with a proposed ordinance.
right.
And then how long is it going to take?
First reading, second reading.
Yeah.
So
So it's disturbing to me that if you're a property owner in town and you may have to just sit and wait for the town to take action on this trailer issue, and you may have trailers piled up in the driveways and we can't enforce the current code.
I think the moratorium went to the first of the year. So if they don't come up with a new code, then it expires unless they extend it January 1st or January sometime.
And the point I wanted to make on this topic was just that I think that the council, the town would be better served if the council could delegate like the solutions to the code enforcement board to come up with and draft solution or language if they believe in that and that the code needs to be updated or clarified or something, that we could be a part of to that process. And I think it will help create alignment between both bodies, both boards. And I think and if we include something, I'm assuming that there already is, but there should be a process to identify potential conflicts between codes. So like what we have with the vegetation, the changes to the code on the vegetation felt like that was pretty rushed. There was no partnership with the code enforcement board on that. And now we have power. I know it not only says it in the code book that it has to be, it can't be within 10 feet of utility lines and fire hydrants and things like that. But the crane operator themselves, when I've done it inadvertently without really paying attention and looking up and like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. The crane operator is like, I'm literally risking, either breaking down everybody's telecommunications or his life if he goes even higher than that and hits the hot wire. So I just think that I understand the safety, the intent of that change and trying to make walking on the road safer.
Well, can we
and
stick
all
to
of
the
that.
trailers?
Pardon?
Let's stick to the trailers.
So, sure. So back to the larger point, I just think that it would be helpful if we can be parties to the solutions.
So what you're saying is the town is basically saying, don't do any code violations on trailers at
Don't
this time.
enforce.
So that means you can have 3 boats in front of your front yard or 3 trailers on the side, everything and all, when normally like you're allowed to have a boat, I think in your property, it's gotta be 24 hours. Like you basically you're taking it and you're taking it to the intercoastal or somewhere else, if I'm understanding correctly. And yeah, we're a boating community and I want to maintain that, but not everybody has 3. There are also people that repair boats in our community, and all of a sudden, and they have more than 1 boat in the front. It might be even 2 or 3. And I think you all that live here and drive go past those homes and see, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. I think I think if we're gonna not have the community the way we would think we want it to look like. I think some people, very few, they have multiple. I think we need to recommend that we still enforce until the ordinance has been changed. I don't know what else to do.
Well, yeah, we can't, the code enforcement officer can't enforce anything because there's a moratorium placed on the current code by the town council, which supersedes anything we want to do. I would just like to suggest that the town council will say, get in gear and get this thing settled. Because it's not right for the property owners next door to people that have all these trailers and all these issues. There's a boat that I walk by every day that's just sitting now since this happened, it's sitting in the driveway all the time.
And this moratorium ends January 1? Is
It
that-
was 6 months, but I don't remember the date that they
I think,
enacted it.
I think it was June.
So, but it looks like it's January 1 that you said that.
That's what he was saying. I didn't
I
remember.
think it's
for-
sometime in January.
I just learned about it like in the last month.
How about not, do we
No
know
enforcement.
for Attorney or Emily?
Yeah, I think it's in January too. I don't remember the exact date in January, but I think it's 6 months from the date of the council meeting. So it's sometime in January. I don't remember.
They're discussing it at the November 15th
Yeah, and
council meeting.
I would recommend that you come to the
I was gonna
council
say, you guys can
meeting
come.
and give your opinion about it.
It's on the first reading.
No.
No, it's
Discussion.
probably not
Yes.
gonna be on
So
first reading. I'm
Oh,
not
there's a
sure.
lot.
You get
of
3 minutes.
Conversation having around this as it's a very
If
divisive
you'd like to talk.
issue. But we do serve at the will of the council, and they've made this decision after a lot of conversation with the community to put this moratorium in place. And I think that we need to be respectful of that as well. While they
I think we
make
are.
the right
I think we're
decisions.
respectful of it. I just.
Well, if we're considering because we're having a discussion, if we're considering making some sort of motion and telling them to do something else in this meantime, but that is what's in place because that's what they've asked for. So they can make the best decision for this community
I
as
just-
our elected representation.
I have had brief discussion with one council member and that person knows that I'm concerned. And I would just like to think that this code board would also like to express their concern to the town council to get this thing taken care of, that it shouldn't drag out any longer than necessary.
Well, I think it's in the process of being carried out, but if the council members are trying to carry it out, as they say, sometimes there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
And Emily, you are suggesting that the best way for us to make that known would be to come to the meeting.
Yeah, or you can also call the council members and discuss it with them.
But they have to go through their process, and I don't know what that process is, but
I
they
guess
said
we don't want
6
to
months.
Well, listen, I'm gonna,
can't.
this really irritates me, and I'm sorry, but I'd like to just give you a little brief history on something. You know, commercial vehicles in town?
Yep.
Okay, you know, that was an issue, that's been an issue.
Has been.
Okay. It's been a year or two since the town council said, you know what, we need a workshop on commercial vehicles in town. And what has happened? Nothing.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think us asking them to hurry up is going to help?
Can't hurt.
Okay, I don't know as we need to put our finger in that.
Well, maybe we
cup of
ask them to
coffee.
let us come up with a solution then, instead, and then we could drive the,
That's not gonna happen.
well, we can ask.
You know, like Taylor says, we're here at the bequest and whatever the council wants. I'm a little reluctant to,
I'm just saying,
Mhm.
I've heard them say we need to have a workshop and it never happened.
run for
I would
council.
look forward to that workshop.
Yeah, I would look forward to it.
Yeah, I would,
Well, they
Anyhow.
haven't had a workshop on
There's nothing we can do to
anything.
keep kicking the can.
I
down the
don't,
street.
yeah, I don't want to belabor this.
If you go to the meeting and you have time to speak, they know you're on the board and you can talk. Now, supposedly, we got intelligence information. There's going to be a bunch of people that are going to come here and argue about having trucks on their property. And they made a comment, we better have extra police protection.
that's Russian disinformation. No, I'm kidding.
Really?
This is a very, very divisive
yeah.
issue in
Wow.
this community, and I personally don't feel
You get
comfortable
one-
doing something as a board to.
You get one or two people
or the
that take
council.
an issue and you try to accommodate and appease them, and then you end up with 50 people that are upset. So that's
Yeah, it's-
sometimes what they're
this is a-
dealing with.
Right.
But I think if you all came and spoke and even mentioned you're on the board and that you would want a workshop, because I think they have talked about a workshop, they just haven't done it. But you can relate that as a resident, that you think that they need to have a workshop right away and talk about this.
May I ask for counselor's advice on like just guidance on like what as a board member, I would like to, you know, share a particular message, and then as a resident, I'd like to send another message, you know, my personal message, and how do I draw the line? And is this more of a question, like something I should take up one-on-one, or is it okay for me to?
Well, I think if you're, the suggestion is to appear at a town council meeting, and that's good. And you can go there, you can say, I'm speaking on behalf of myself.
Sure.
You know, even though I'm on the code board, I'm speaking as my own opinion,
Concerned resident.
Right.
you know, and I would make that clear. Or if there is some directive or some suggestion from the board, somebody, I guess, could present it that the board did discuss this, and we would hope that you have
have to take
a
any-
workshop, but you wouldn't speak for the board unless there's official
Kind of
action.
action, right?
Right, okay.
So if no one would like to take any action,
Well, what would it be? Just request the town council to, I guess,
We could send
expedite, or I mean, I'm just like, what would,
expedite, workshop,
Well, if you're talking about the trailers, they're on it. I mean, there's a lot of disagreement and they're sorting through that, and I guess trying to come up with the best policy they think is best for the town. It's not like they've forgotten the trailers.
no.
No.
If they weren't moving through the process, I would agree that we would want to take some action, but there's a lot of conversation happening and opportunity to express that concern being presented to us too.
so should we,
So maybe the suggestion is that those who desire to go to the town council meeting and speak on behalf of themselves and mention your board members, you could do that.
We could also, if there's a way to find a common ground here, send a unified message. Maybe it's more, not the specific issue, but maybe the larger point to say, hey, and bring us in, and we can help.
can I
But
make a suggestion? What
It's
about-
two different things. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to make a suggestion. I think it's a little difficult, obviously, different. Would it be appropriate for code enforcement board to meet with the town council just to discuss this matter? In other words, between us, because obviously we're talking about it, but it'd be much easier if we were speaking directly with them.
I think you have to do them individually or something, don't you?
Well, that,
Because
it'd
they
have to
can't
be, have to be a public meeting.
Right. You know, we have historically in the past had multiple code board members go to a town council meeting and speak to the council. So
It's going to be on what, November 15th?
that's what I would.
November 5th.
At this point,
I'm not
that's what
gonna
I
be
would
here.
encourage.
I have something that.
And if there's multiple.
So you can
multiple
remote.
People, they'll know that.
not
You
for-
can do it virtually.
Mhm.
You can
Can't you
attend the meeting
also-
virtually and
I-
request to.
I understand. I'm just not going to be in
Oh.
a venue.
Oh.
I'm in I'm going to be
I
in
got
an
you.
arena. It's
Um,
not going to be conducive.
Jerry, what you can do is you can send me an email with what you want to say and
can read
somebody
it.
will read it.
Comment.
Read it
Oh,
into the
okay.
record.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice.
Further discussion
Appreciate it. Thank
from anyone on board issues or other.
you. I know, I appreciate, I have another one. I do
Oh,
have,
go,
something I want
Jerry.
to bring up, and is the chief still here, or I guess he's coughing? But for Police Chief Smith and Dana, I'm really concerned about the house with the pool safety issue, and it's Halloween. It's a known issue now with the town and all of us. Do we have any, should we have police car just there to make sure no kids or somebody wants to just, I don't know. You tell me. I'm just, what's our liability as a town?
The homeowner is liable.
Yeah.
Solely the homeowner. The town has done their due diligence, correct?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I can't station a police officer there. We will have police on patrol for duty, and I will mention to them that, hey, I need to, and they all see it, so I don't think it's gonna be new to them, but I will mention it to them, to keep an extra eye out. I'm hoping the homeowner is gonna contact me, and I'm going to recommend that the homeowner be there, but,
No, I agree. I'm just bringing it up because, hey, I was a kid once. So nothing personal. It's just, it's a known nuisance and it, it's just, I just don't want something coming back on this town and now, knowing that there was a situation and we sat on it.
It
Okay.
could happen any day,
Yeah.
If
no
there's
matter
I
what day
agree.
it
If
is.
there's no further business, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned. Good meeting.
See you on December 7th.
December